uncles like Roger. Roger must be somewhere online, and I hope he's listening. Friends like Twin, who nearly killed themselves making things just right. And well wishers, but of course supported also by her husband, General Abdullah Ahmad. And also now being warmly, presently supported by the Governor of Governors from Ekiti State, His Excellency Olua Kayode John Fayemi. But more importantly, people of Imesile, people of Bida, the Nupe people, must be quite proud of themselves that the way they have brought up Aisha has been very productive. Today, she has turned out to be a lady of beauty, a lady of brains, and a lady of virtue. These are high standards, and I know that it's going to be tough to maintain these standards, but that's easy for Aisha. At this point in time, too, we must pay our respects to her parents. A young man called Alhaji Umaru Danusa. We've been friends for some 5 decades or so, and you're still looking acceptably handsome. And of course, the wife Bamidele. Actually, when I saw Bamidele today, I had to cross-check. That's the mother. And when you see her, she doesn't look it. There must be some Lupe formula you are using on your Yoruba DNA. Not to forget also the 2 children, Abdul Shakur and Jamal. All these are the surrounding human beings that have actually swirled around her to keep her calm and effective. You're in good company, and may the company continue to be positively impactful. Actually, I haven't mentioned all those. Perhaps what we should do is give you a little short prayer. And since you are Aisha, perhaps the prayer we should choose should be from the Holy Quran. Maybe the first chapter of it, the Surah Al-Fatiha, the 7th chapter. But we're going to just take a few of the lines as a form of prayer. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. But we go straight to the Idina Siratil Mustaqim. Siratal Lazini Anamta Alahim. Giril Madubi Alahim. Wallada Alatim. Amen. That is, that God Almighty, Allah, would continue to keep you and those surrounding you on the straight path, on the path that will receive the favor of Allah, but not like those who have strayed away and who are the focus of the anger of Almighty Allah. Allah will continue to guide and guard you. Because what you are doing today is not very common. You're honoring somebody who's gone. Honoring somebody who's not your immediate mother. It's a grandmother. You probably have been a spoiled child of this grandmother. But she lived long enough for you people to know her. And as the philosophers say, a long life is not good enough. But a good life is long enough. In this case, she had a good, long life. And we say, Alhamdulillah. Thanks be to God for her. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I believe that today is going to be a memorable day. We have, instead of having a minute silence for her, we've had a minute of joyful acclamation. If you look at her faces, as displayed all around, she's listening to you, she's taking you in, and she has received those acclamations. When it's our own time too, may we be able to receive acclamations. You've been told that the program today is tripartite. And we've had fantastic people lined up to participate meaningfully. Something tells me that again, it's the stroke of the divine, that we're able to get these people together to participate at the high level. And we hope that we'll have something to take away from the three levels. The first level of the round table, the next level of the lunch, and the third level of the pre-lunch. I believe that these tripartite strategies are not an accident. Somebody has thought it over. And I repeat again that Aisha has his way of doing her own things, and very soon people will get used to that level of character. I'd like to say to all of you who are here that by coming here, you have put your hand on a good thing. You have been selected because you are value adding to the project. You have added value, you are adding value by being here, and you will add value in the future. May value also be added to your various affairs. Now, the subject of our getting together, Florence, Bamidele, Makanjuola, no doubt you'll get to hear more about her. But anybody would have liked to be like her, given the impact she has had. We are told that she was named after Florence Nightingale. Now, Florence Nightingale is no mean person. Florence Nightingale is known as the founder of modern nursing. And Florence Nightingale died at 90, but has left indelible footprints in the field of healthcare. Check out what is called a Nightingale environmental principles of bringing security and health to people. This Florence Bamidele is no different. Very broad-based education, teacher, and many other qualities. But two I just want to talk about. She is still remembered as a mentor extraordinaire. And as a mentor extraordinaire, she followed the principle of inspiring people. You know, the very simple principle of when you are alive and you want to be a mentor, you must aspire to inspire others before you yourself expire and meet your Messiah. That's exactly what she did. She aspired to inspire other people before she departed and met her Messiah. Wherever she is now, she is in very good hands. I believe that we should say our prayers that our soul and the soul of our parents will rest in peace, especially the father, Gilbert, and the mother, Leah, her family, Lucy. We believe also that apart from mentoring, she has been a person of service. She has been of service for those who are in need. She was a person of integrity and character. She respected herself, she respected others, and she took responsibility for her actions. And when you want to be remembered, the real message of life is to give service to others. That's why if you look at what Shakespeare said a long time ago in The Merchant of Venice, you know, when Portia, dressed as a lawyer, was appealing to Shylock to have mercy on Antonio and said the quality of mercy is not strained. Replace mercy there with service, and you will get the quality of service is not strained. It droppeth like a gentle rain from heaven upon the earth below. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that gets. And I believe that that was the policy of our dear mother. And I think that that's one thing we can take home from here, that giving service to others always works. Doing good always brings goodness back. It's in this light that I want to congratulate once more those who have brought us here. I'm sure you will enjoy yourselves. Everybody is in good company. The way it has been mixed up is such that everybody feels relaxed in a family environment. Reminding you of what Jean-Baptiste, known as Molière, the 17th century French playwright and writer said. He said, qui rassemble, s'assemble. Birds of the same feather flock together. Aisha, you've brought together today birds of the same feather. They're going to smoothly flock together, and they're going to all together, individually and jointly, prove to you that you deserve support. You will get the support. And Mama himself there will be quite pleased that her own Aisha has done this. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I think we had a good beginning, and the end is going to be even much better. May God Almighty bless those of you who are doing good by coming here. May you all see good. Merry Christmas and enjoy yourselves.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Prince Julius Adelusi Adeluyi, OFR MNI, our chairman for today. Another round of applause, please, as he takes his seat. A number of things to draw from his very, very brilliant opening remarks. One of the things I must highlight is that Prince Adelusi Adeluyi is a man who is a technocrat and could have come from a very, very formal, official point of view. But it was extra special, especially for today, to have come from such a personal point of view. Just speaking from his heart and speaking and touching each member of the family that he could. Thank you so very much, sir. And then he drew, obviously, the relationship between Mama and the woman she was named for, Florence Nightingale. What a great reminder that she was named, and she fulfilled the prophecy of her name as she went on to become a nurse just like Florence Nightingale, and an outstanding one at that, one that will speak for generations to come. That's really powerful. And finally, of course, as any good orator would do, he left us with words to remember through an alliteration. He said she aspired to inspire before expiring, before meeting her Messiah. Please, a round of applause for that. If you don't remember anything, you remember aspire to inspire to expire. You remember it somewhat. Thank you very much indeed, sir. We're really grateful. All right, we'll move on very quickly, but before we go on, I mentioned that we would acknowledge as we proceed, and as he was speaking, he did acknowledge the governor of governors, in the words of our chairman, His Excellency, the governor of Ekiti State, Governor John Kayode Fayemi. He also happens to be our keynote speaker for today, and I'll be giving him a more detailed introduction to him before he comes on in a few minutes. I'd also like to recognize, it was also mentioned, indeed, the chairman did my job partially, just recognizing the people that are dear to the hearts of the family members. Thank you very much for honoring the presence of General Abdallah Ahmad. A round of applause, please, for him. All right. He also mentioned a number of times a woman, a certain woman, but I purposely skipped her. She's here in two capacities, but I'm sure she'd lean towards more on the personal note. She's, of course, a woman that we are proud of in Nigeria. As the Deputy Governor of the CBN, I won't say her name yet, but I'll also be introducing her. She'll come to speak very shortly. Today, she's not wearing that hat. Today, she's wearing the hat of a granddaughter who loved very dearly her grandmother. I'll come to that very shortly. And talking about this great woman that Prince Adelusi has just eulogized and spoke about so highly, we thought it was important to detail her life in a few minutes through a video introduction. And so for some of us who are here and we just want to go down memory lane and just really, again, understand the reason why today is so important for us, why we must honor this legend, the next few minutes would hopefully tell you a little bit why. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies, for the next few minutes, please turn your attention to the screen as we watch a few minutes of the life and times of our dear FBM.
Florence Bamidele Makanjuola ní Familusi was born on December 18, 1921 in Lagos. She was the first child of Leah Oretikpe Familusi and Gilbert Fajayiyomi Familusi, both of the royal family of Akegon in Imesile in Osun State. Oretikpe was a renowned dressmaker and alashoke. Gilbert, a shoe designer and cobbler who produced Opekete shoes. Both lived at 12 Bangboshe Street, Lagos. The first of 10 children, Florence had a loving and happy childhood where good graces, a high sense of integrity and the love of God were instilled from birth. Her father was committed to his children's education, especially his daughters, which was extremely progressive for that time. Her mother, Leah, was a frugal disciplinarian, a trait Florence emulated her entire life. She attended Methodist Primary School, Tinubu, and Ebute Metta Methodist Primary School. Such was her brilliance that upon completion of Primary 4, she was admitted to the prestigious Queen's College, Lagos. On her father's advice, Florence left Queen's College, Lagos for a stint at the Home Craft Center, Ilesha, for vocational teacher training, and later enrolled for full teacher training at United Missionary College, Molete, Ibadan. Thereafter, Florence taught for 5 years at Home Craft Center. Notwithstanding teacher training, Florence always had a passion for nursing. Throughout her life, Gilbert spoke admirably of Florence Nightingale, the famous British noblewoman and founder of modern nursing. This sparked a passion and lifelong interest in Florence for the nursing profession and the care for others. After the Second World War, Florence accepted a scholarship from the British government to study nursing and midwifery in the United Kingdom. She departed for England in May 1946 on the HMS Almanzora battleship. Florence studied nursing at the Edinburgh Royal Infirmary and completed her postgraduate studies in obstetrics and gynecology at the Chelsea Hospital for Women in 1950. She worked at the Mildmay Mission Home Hospital in England and at the Women's Hospital, Toronto. Florence met her husband, Dr. Olatunde Olarigbigbe Makanjuola, in Nigeria. The mutual presence in the UK pursuing their respective medical training provided the perfect opportunity for a formal courtship. Florence and Tunde built a successful marriage grounded in love, friendship, and true partnership. Together, they raised 5 children, 15 grandchildren, and 16 great-grandchildren. Upon return from the UK, Florence served briefly as the nursing sister in charge at the University College Hospital, UCH Ibadan, Adeoyo General Hospital. To create flexibility to pursue her nursing career and raise her children, she set up and managed the Makanjuola Nursing and Maternity Home, Idioro, Mushin, Lagos. She worked there as a nurse and midwife, caring for patients in the community for over 2 decades. Though many of the residents couldn't afford its services, the Makanjuolas continued to fund the clinic.
One thing that I think I really want to appreciate and thank her for is that she brought all of us together to be a very close-knit family. And that's one thing that you don't see too often now. So whatever differences there could be, to be able to manage it, that we are all together as one big family. Not only children, but extended family and grandchildren.
She'll be remembered for her deep love for people. She loved God and she loved people. She was so loving. At some point, I got confused. I didn't know who I was related to by blood. I thought she was the one I was related to by blood from the way she related to me and my sisters. Actually, she was an embodiment of love.
Florence was thrust into formal leadership of her family at the relatively young age of 25, following the death of her beloved father Gilbert. She took responsibility for the welfare and education of all her siblings, sponsoring their education, ensuring they built successful careers in medicine, accounting, and the academia. Florence was a caring mother who was deeply committed to her family. She opened up her home to many others for whom she was a foster mother, taking responsibility for their feeding, accommodation, moral instruction, and education. Though of modest means, her generosity knew no bounds.
The day I gave birth to my first daughter, she's the one that called me that I should make sure that I open an account for my daughter. So she really put me through a lot of things.
Àwọn nice àwọn èèyàn ládùúgbò bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọ́n dẹ̀ láìsí àwa tá à ń tọ́jú wọn náà sá.
Wọ́n tún máa ń bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ọ̀rọ̀ láti tọ́jú ọmọ. Wọ́n ní tí o bá tọ́jú ọmọ, wàá jèrè ọmọ ẹ̀. Wọ́n ní gbogbo nǹkan tó ní agbára tó bá nípa, o gbọ́dọ̀ fi tọ́jú ọmọ tó bí. Àti ọ̀dọ̀ wọn ni mo ti kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ láti cherish ọmọ.
Florence put God at the center throughout her life, taking communion at every opportunity. She was a very active member of Methodist churches of Odiolowo and Palm Avenue and founder of Good Women Christian Society.
In Lagos here, she started her early life in the island, attending Methodist Church of the Trinity, Tinubu, Lagos. In fact, she attended the primary schools in the island, Ebute Meta, and other areas like that. They were first worshipping at Odiolowo before moving down to this place and now worshipping with us in Palm Avenue. But Mama can never be forgotten in the history of Methodism in this area. She lived his life as a true born of Methodist because the Lucy family, they are staunch Methodist people. And we know them to be church historians in this church.
She has been good to the church. She has been good to the society she belongs to. In fact, she is one of the founder of a society in the church, Good Women Society, I think in 1983, and she has been piloting that society till he left the heart.
She loved to sing hymns. One of her favorites was Igbagbomi Drolori Jesu, or My Faith Rests in Jesus, and continued to find refuge in psalms, praise, and worship until her last moments. Florence strongly advocated for women's empowerment. She believed women should be financially independent and contribute to support the family, which was motivation for her educational and career pursuits. She encouraged her children and female wards to save, invest, and build businesses. Florence was also very concerned about lifting people from poverty, especially women. She sponsored the education and supported the businesses of many young women. She created the Opekete Charity Foundation as a platform to formalize her lifelong philanthropic activities. Florence had a sharp mind, quick wit, and an excellent memory. A lifelong learner, she kept abreast of popular culture, reading newspapers well into her late 90s, stopping only when she lost her eyesight. She dressed impeccably, which earned her the nickname Lady amongst her peers. She had a can-do spirit, lively personality, loved to sing and dance well into her centenary years. On Thursday, May 13, 2021, Florence Bamidele Makanjuola passed away peacefully, surrounded by her loved ones. A formidable woman of character and virtue, loyal wife, great-grandmother, matriarch of the Familusi and Makanjuola families, proud daughter of Imesile, hard-working Nigerian, Florence lived a life of impact and service. To her family, the professions of teaching and nursing, the church, and community at large. The remarkable legacy of Nigeria's own Florence Nightingale is indeed worthy of celebration. Florence Bamidele's eventful life at 100 years is an inspiring example of true greatness and service to humanity. We are thankful for her enduring legacy that lives on in her great works and through us all.
Lady Florence Bamidele Makanjuola. Please let's give another round of applause. What a life. What a truly inspiring and impactful life. As our chairman said, not just a long life, but a good long life. Certainly worth celebrating. Can we please another round of applause for Lady, as you've watched in the video, a lady to the core, Lady Florence Bamidele Makanjuola. You know, I was going to say when the chairman highlighted or noted just how beautiful her daughters and granddaughters looked, I thought to myself, if you see her pictures, you'd understand that the flower doesn't go too far from they represent their mother and grandmother so well, so you would understand where the fashion sense comes from. And beyond fashion, it was so good to see that she was a total woman. Not only was she committed to her work and impacting women and young people and the people around her, but she was also really passionate about her family. So she didn't allow family life to go away. 5 children, 15 grandchildren, 16 great-grandchildren. Such a heritage, such a legacy, enduring legacy. We celebrate your life. We celebrate it so loudly and so proudly. And so for all the children of Lady FBM in the room, I say all the children, because as we saw in the video, she didn't just cater to her biological children, but everyone around her whom she could bring close and invest in and raise and even, train in education. There are people who have come back, including her caregivers. So for those who don't understand the Yoruba language, the 2 ladies were speaking about the impacts that Mama had on their lives whilst they looked after her. They talked about the fact that she kept telling them it was important to invest in the lives of their own children, because at the end of the day, it's your children who will come back to look after you. And isn't that just displayed here today? She was prophetic when she was saying it, because as the chairman said, because of what she had done or what she has done for her children and grandchildren, we are here gathered today, giving her the highest honor, celebrating her so loudly by her own children. Can we just celebrate this woman? She lived, really lived, walked the talk, didn't just talk, but she actually demonstrated all that she believed in and thought about. Thank you very much. And now just to mention, for those who are watching online, we hope you're having a great experience just as we are live. Just to mention, if you can either go on Zoom or there's a YouTube link that's been shared on the platform. You can also go on YouTube to be a part of today's event. In addition to that, just to mention, I know that when we go for events like this, food is being distributed and we have one mind, should I pick, should I not pick? Okay, who on the table is going to take first? I don't want to be, too forward. I give you permission as the host to please eat. The food has been provided for you as breakfast. You could, just pass it around whilst we proceed. Have some food. If you need any assistance, if you need a drink, tea, coffee, orange juice, just wave to any of the ushers and they'll be more than happy to help you. I knew that some people needed permission. I can see, eagerly now taking it. Don't worry, we won't look at your table. Please enjoy yourselves. We've mentioned that it's a celebration today and we're celebrating in every way possible. Unfortunately for those online, you can participate in everything except the food. However, you can make your own celebration for yourself wherever you are. Please grab a drink, a light refreshment wherever you are, and please be a part of today's celebration. Now, Mama was someone who really talked about her family, and we thought it was really important to invite to say a few words her first son, the first fruit from her womb, to say something for the next few minutes. It's a hybrid event. He's not here physically. However, he's going to be joining us from Zoom. And I'm sure we're ready to take on Professor Roger Makanjuola. A round of applause, please.
The chairman of this celebration, Prince Julius. We are really such a distinguished person, and you have done us great honor by being here today. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Our esteemed keynote speaker, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, Executive Governor of Secretary State. When I look at our country and I see the mess that we have become, I then think about people like you, people of integrity, commitment to our country, people of high ability, and I believe there is hope for us after all. We look forward to people like you, sir, to bring decency back into our country. Listening to the governor of today, His Royal Highness, the Owaoye of Bamidele. Let me just at least mention our esteemed Professor J.B. Familusi, eminent pediatric neurologist and brother of our late mother, and Mrs. Aisha Ahmed, Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. We are very proud of you as a member of our family. The roundtable speakers, our numerous esteemed guests and supporters. And I know our bishop is here with us. I'm sure he is, even though he wasn't introduced earlier. I'm fairly sure he's with us. We welcome you, sir. And of course, members of the Familusi and Makanjuola families. This celebration is taking place in commemoration of our late mother, Mrs. Florence Bamidele Makanjuola, who would have celebrated her 100th birthday with us today. Well, we're celebrating it for her, of course. She passed on May 13 this year, leaving behind an enduring legacy of commitment to her family and commitment to humanity. She lived a life of sacrifice with these two main objectives, her family and humankind. When I say family, this went beyond the welfare and development of her husband and we, her children. She was the oldest child of her father, Chief Gilbert Familusi, and also devoted herself to ensuring the development of her siblings after the premature death of her father. She went further than that, doing all she could to promote the development of extended family members of both the Familusis and the Makanjuolas. Our mother was responsible for the upbringing and development of a substantial number of individuals from both sides. And when she had achieved the development of numerous members of the two families, she turned her attention to humanity in general. Any person who came to her attention, who needed help, received that help from her. She impacted on so many lives. And she was particularly devoted to female education and helped a substantial number of young girls to receive that education. And it is this particular aspect of her philanthropy that has brought us here today. She set up the Opakete Foundation before she died with the sole objective of providing scholarships, bursaries, and other support to young girls, and a number received the support before she passed on. We, the family, have taken up this foundation along with some other supporters, and we hope to achieve the support of everyone here to develop this foundation to support the education of underprivileged young girls. On behalf of the family, I thank you all for coming to celebrate the life of our dear mother. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Roger Makanjuola. A round of applause, please. And as he mentioned, just as we would say in Yoruba, the Olori Ebi has said and acknowledged a few other people, and please permit me to recognize them again. Please, I'd like us to honor the presence of Bishop Sunday Yemisi Ogunlere. A round of applause, please. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. And then we have seated here the Director General Operations at the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Ade Shonubi. A round of applause, please. Thank you. And then we have the Managing Director, NIBS, Mr. Premier Oiwo. A round of applause, please. Thank you. Can you please wave so we can acknowledge you where you're sitting? Or perhaps it's online. All right. Also online, we have Mrs. Yula Ajayi. She's the chairman.
Makanjuola family, led by the Olori Ebi, as the MC correctly described. Please, if I don't follow any particular order of protocol, forgive me. Not unfamiliar with protocol, but this is not an event for such distractions. But let me thank the family for inviting me to this occasion. I feel a filial sense, actually, to Mama Florence Bamidele Makanjuola. And you would ask why. Mama worked in Nigeria Maternity Hospital in the 60s. I was born in Nigeria Hospital. And there's a sense, I haven't quite worked out the timing. It's not impossible that Mama delivered me. Which in itself gives expression to our life of sacrifice and service to community. But I know, even if I'm not sure of that, I know that Mama has strong connections to Ekiti, not just Ijesha. And I confirmed this listening to the tributes in June. One of Mama's younger brothers gave a tribute and then referred to Mama's Oriki in that tribute, tracing her heritage to Efon Alaye. So it's not an accident that the chairperson for this occasion is a full-fledged Ekiti man. It's also not an accident that somehow, by some strange coincidence, the keynote speaker is also an Ekiti man. Of course, the Imesile community should not feel envious in any way, since they also have connections to the Okemesi side of it. And that's why the Kabiyesi is Owaoye of Imesile and Owaoye of Okemesi. So for me, it's really, really an honor to have been asked to speak on this centenary celebration of Mama's life and times. Even though she's no longer here with us, she has really impacted on us in such a way that it's very difficult to forgive all of what she's contributed. And I thank family members for not just doing this, but also honoring her with the support to girl child education via the Opekete Foundation. I've been asked to speak on philanthropy. And when Aisha wrote to me about this, she said she wanted me not to come and talk about big-time philanthropy, the definition of philanthropy and all that, but just giving. Giving in an impactful way. And I think she deliberately warned me about that because I live with someone whose life is completely devoted to philanthropy. My wife is a professional fundraiser, incidentally for women's work and girl child education. So I do tend to pick up a lot of professional materials on philanthropy from her. And definitely one of the things that it's clear to me is that everyone can give something. We always think when people talk about philanthropy, all they're talking about is the Gates Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the MTN Foundation, and such other big organized forms of philanthropy. But that is clearly not the case. Everyone can give something. Either money, time, their skills. We can all give, and we all have opportunities to give. And it's never too late or too early to give. And as we read about Mama's life and times and our extraordinary acts of generosity and kindness, I really do hope it would encourage us all to get involved in our communities and neighborhoods, because Mama's philanthropy was not the gigantic ones that we hear about. But she did it in Idioro. She did it to our own family members when our dad passed on, by contributing to raising them, sending them to school, supporting their growth and development, and ensuring that they become people of worth. And if social justice is to have any meaning, ordinary people must find ways and means of contributing to giving. Because, yes, government is uniquely placed to help and indeed has a responsibility to provide for the citizens. But even with the best of intentions, with the best governments around, the work is never finished. There will still be one thing or the other for people to do. And if we recall, most of us either went to mission schools or we went to community schools. Schools in which the towns unions contributed money to set up, or schools that were set up in our communities by missionaries, until that time that government then decided that it had too much money, it had to take over all those schools. Thankfully, they've been returned to original owners in many many cases now. But what that then led to was almost an abdication of responsibilities by ordinary citizens because government does it. I don't need to do anything. However, we have seen that even governments with the best of intentions and with capacity may not necessarily be able to do it all in advancing public good. And those of us who grew up in the Christian faith, and I'm sure this is true of all religions, actually it's true of all religions, we are trained very early in life about the duty that we have on giving. At least I know about the Catholic Church, and I know it's true of other religions as well. In the Catholic Church, when we start very early in life with the training of catechism, one of the things that we're trained early is the 7 corporal works of mercy. And many Catholics say will remember the 7 corporal works of mercy. You feed the hungry, you give drink to the thirsty, you clothe the naked, you shelter the homeless, you visit the sick, you visit the imprisoned, and then you bury the dead. All about giving. But it's not unique to us. In other denominations, we talk about tithe, 10% of your income. In Islam, we talk about zakat. I think it's 2.5% of income, and then whatever else you want to add to that. And even in the Jewish faith, they talk of tzedakah, also speaking to giving. So, in our religious upbringing, in our community upbringing, we all have a duty to give. We have a responsibility, even though we don't always pay enough attention to this. I was talking about my wife working in philanthropy. I mean, a few years ago, I think about 3 or 4 years ago, she gave a speech to a religious group titled, "Where is Your Rapper?" And that speech went viral. And the point she was making in the speech basically was, in most communities in Africa, when a woman is about to give birth in the marketplace, for example, if a woman goes into labor in the marketplace, all the women in that arena will come together with their wrappers, cover the woman giving birth, help her to deliver of the baby, and protect her dignity in the process. But for her, the wrapper is a metaphor for what we all owe as individuals to society. It's not just about women, of course. We're talking about Mama Makanjuola and our work on gender equality. You could say Mama was a first-generation feminist, even though some may want to contest that, since we often query words rather than substance. But from all of what we read of our exploits, of our service to our community in Idioro, to our community in Imesile, to women and children around her, she clearly gave of herself to sacrifice to society. And I think what the family is trying to do, and which we almost really support, is this life of impact that our mama led in our lifetime. Because at the end of the day, no matter what we become, no matter how we have impacted ourselves, it is what we're able to do to make a fundamental difference in the lives of others around us who are not as opportune, those who are needier than us, that would really speak to our shared humanity. And I think, again, if you allow me to quote from a very popular Catholic prayer, Catholics there will also know the Peace Prayer of St. Francis, which speaks to being made an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. And O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. So in every sense, there can only be value added to giving and doing whatever we have. And then there's so many ways to give. We always think, as I said, that you must be a Bill or Melinda Gates who put in $35 billion of their money into philanthropy and has assisted so many countries, including our own country. That, in and of itself, is not a bad thing. But it's not everybody who even wants to do that who wants to set up a foundation. And we know of Warren Buffett, who put in his own $30 billion in the care of the Gates Foundation to spend on his behalf to worthy causes, on worthy causes around the world. And he was asked that why did he do this? Let me quote what he said. He said, "My gift is nothing. I can have everything I need with less than 1% of my wealth. I am just giving back surplus claims that have no value to me, but can do a lot for others." The people that you should really admire, the people that I really admire, referring to himself, are the small donors who give up what is important to them, like a meal, to help those who are needier than them. So, as I said, where you don't even have raw cash to give, you can give your time. You can give your time. Mama gave her time to Good Women's Society and was known for her philanthropic efforts in that organization. We also can give our time to similar bodies in order to demonstrate that shared humanity. And we can help in various capacities without any expectation of pecuniary benefits. We can also give things. If you don't have money or you don't have time to give because you're so busy, you can give things. I mean, I see many women very gaily dressed in this audience, and I know many of them have clothes that they've not even sighted, let alone put on in the last 10 years. And some of those clothes are sitting in their wardrobes. A friend of mine, the former Minister of Finance, set up a charity recently called Dash Me. Mrs. Kemi Adioshun basically to collect such clothes from our friends and then make it available to those who may be more in need of such gifts. But you can also give skills. My brother, incidentally also another Ekiti man, Benga Ebodi, who is sitting up front here. There must be something about these Ekiti people that connect them to giving and support and doing things like this. Benga is involved with Teach for Africa, which is a non-profit dedicated to teaching, not just in Nigeria, but also, I think Ms. Omikunle is the executive director of the institution. So we can give skills as well, and we should try and do that. This is what Mama means to us. The 100 years that Mama spent was spent in the service of humanity. I had a few occasions to speak to her on the phone, and she would sing and dance. I remember she once sang, Fi fun mi o, koi ti to. So she had all those juju music that are also close to church songs. Mama was very fond of them. So in closing, I think what she demonstrated to us in our lifetime is that really all of us can be warriors of hope, even in despondent times. We can be instruments of peace, and we can be soldiers of trust and pioneers of philanthropy in our own ways. So however it may come to you, whatever it is that you consider necessary in your neighborhood, in your community, in order to assist people, then do it. And I think we can start that by the support we give to Okekete Foundation this afternoon. I thank you all for giving me the opportunity.
His Excellency, the Governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi. Can we really honor him with another round of applause for that speech? Simple and powerful message on philanthropy. And as he opened and talked about each individual here not abdicating their responsibility and actually having a think as to how and where or what we can do towards making better the life of someone in our own sphere of influence. And if there's one way we can honor Mama's life, it is to emulate her total devotion to ensuring that the life of the next person is better off than she met it. And so there are many ways in which we can do this. There are many ways without waiting for the government, as His Excellency has said, or waiting for donor organizations from around the world. There are little ways we can do it. You can pick someone and send them to school. You can decide to go out there and feed someone. Just ensure that we impact someone's life. And that is a commitment that we are hoping that at the end of today's celebration, we all would make. And you can start off from here, as we'll be introducing to you in the next few minutes some great ways to begin your journey to philanthropy if you haven't started, or to expand your sphere of philanthropy if you've already begun. And so on that note, I'd like to invite for a very special assignment the moment many of us have been waiting for. We had talked about the fact that we had 3 main missions this morning, stroke afternoon, and one of which is what we are about to do. And so with a lot of excitement, joy, anticipation, we are about to go into the next item on the agenda. And so it's my honor to invite, as we have heard, he didn't want us to know, but the governor has outed him, that it's his birthday. the birthday man in the room this morning. And I'm going to ask us to do something very special. You know, he's extra special, and I see why, as the governor highlighted, there are a number of ways that things that seem like coincidence have just fallen into place today. I think Ekiti State, I'm now trying to trace my history to see what links I also have to Ekiti State, because there has to be something there. You know, they are known for producing some of the finest and most brilliant minds in Nigeria. They are known for also giving birth to a large number of twins as well. So there are many notable things in Ekiti State that we all have to trace our history. Whether you're from the east, west, north, or south, do a little family tree, and you might just find yourself back home in Ekiti. All right, now he shares, he's unique because he actually shares the same birthday as our wonderful mother. So that is so amazing that he's also going to be spearheading the next activity. So as he comes up on stage, as I invite him, we're going to do something together, if that's okay. Don't forget, it's a celebration. So we're going to sing happy birthday to him as he walks on stage. I know some people who don't like it because it is totally, don't put the spotlight on me. Well, what do you get when you decide to run for governor? The spotlight is always going to be on you. So, sir, I apologize if you didn't expect this, but we're going to totally shine the spotlight on you. And then before we bring you back, of course, it's not every day one shares a special day with such a great woman. And so, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, he's going to be helping us to unveil the pre-launch of the book that we are really excited to present to you this afternoon. Please, let's make very welcome His Excellency, the Governor of Niger State, Alhaji Abubakar Sani Bello, the birthday man, with a happy birthday song. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, Mr. DJ.
Happy birthday to you.
Please, you can sing along.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
A round of applause, please. Thank you very much for honoring him.
My birthday was actually yesterday. However, I must confess, I haven't had a wonderful, happy birthday like today. Not in a very, very long time. Probably when I was a teenager, probably last time. So thank you very much. Your Excellency, Governor Kayode Fayemi, Chairman, Nigeria Governors Forum. We sometimes refer to him as Governor General. I think there has been a breach of protocol. Usually when my chairman speaks, the game is over. But Chairman, with your permission, please allow me to continue. Let me also recognize the chairman of this occasion with his lovely wife. Let me recognize the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of this remarkable woman we're celebrating posthumous today. Your Royal Highness Kabiyesi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Now, having listened to speakers that spoke before me, and having watched the video, without a doubt, we're celebrating a great woman. A woman that has dedicated her life to serve humanity, and probably at a very early age took on huge responsibilities after the demise of her father. Very few people experience such things. But then, I never met her in person. As I went through the biography, as I listened to what everyone said about our dear mother, may her soul rest in perfect peace, I saw her in one person. That person there. She had a good heart, and that person there has a very good heart. She's someone I've known for many years, and I promise you, she has taken to all the good sides of our beloved late mother. Having organized and brought all of us under this roof, because she kept on sending me reminders, you are my governor, you have to come. I had no choice, I had to leave whatever I was doing to come here, because if I didn't make it here today, I won't see peace. And I'm glad I came. If nothing, it's given me the opportunity to meet you lovely men and women, and a lot of my friends I have not seen in a very long time. So I thank you for inviting me to this very important occasion. And my prayer to God is that you also will live 100 years. She fell short of 100 by 3 months. She would have been 100 today. How many people in this generation get the opportunity to see 100 years? To members of our family, yes, it's painful. You've lost someone you loved dearly. But then, you should be happy when someone passes on and a lot of nice things are being said as a person, you should rejoice. How many of us get the opportunity for people to sit down and speak or say good things about us after we pass on? Also, because of her philanthropic activities and her service to humanity, there are lots and lots of people we may not even know that she has touched their lives. And they also are equally pained at this great loss, because she's touched their lives in so many ways. Such people are very rare to find. We will continue to miss her. We will continue to pray to God to touch our hearts so that we're able to do the same things she did. My chairman spoke a lot in his keynote address. And by the way, I always like listening to my chairman when he speaks. He has a lot of wisdom. Maybe because he's from Ekiti. I am also from Ekiti. So my chairman is someone I've come to admire for a very long time, and we maintained a very good relationship, and I'm glad he made it here. And he spoke something that always touches me, just one aspect he mentioned. For those of us, you can help in many ways, but he mentioned something that I always spoke to myself about, and I always complained, and I don't like it. Whenever I open my wardrobe and I see so many clothes, I get depressed. And like he said, some of those clothes probably haven't worn in 5 years. So really, why do you need so much clothes? Really and truly. So I try as much as possible once in a while to bring out suitcases and give them out. To some, it's like Father Christmas. To me, I don't need. Our sisters, some not all, but I know most do, will have 200 pairs of shoes. Because every bag will go with a particular shoe. Or Ashobi. Most of this Ashobi, you wear it for the occasion, and after the occasion, it's gone. So please, find time to go through your wardrobes. This is very important because when you clothe someone, that is one of the most important aspects of life. Clothing and shelter. In fact, clothing first. Find time to go through your wardrobe. Sometimes it's difficult because it's time consuming, because you have to start going through, flipping through, and it takes a lot of time. But like my chairman said, I think it is important we find time to support, just like Mama did in her own little ways, so that we can emulate her. Having said this, like I said, a lot have been said. I doubt I can say more than what has been said already. We have to go to the main business of the day. I tried to avoid this role. It was meant for my chairman, but Aisha is a very, very stubborn person. She never takes no for an answer. But I can manage her. I've been managing her. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we have all been waiting for. I am now very pleased excuse me, I'm not high tech. I am now very pleased to unveil an autobiography of this remarkable woman we are celebrating today. In the name of Florence Bamidele Makanjuola, aka FBM. We honor her life and women like her who add value to society. And very soon we're going to be watching a video. So please pay attention to the video. It is nice to watch such videos because we may, as we live, we learn every day. We may pick one or two things that would change certain situations going forward in future. Thank you very much for listening.
Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, presenting the autobiography Florence, Daughter of Akegon by Florence B. Makanjuola, the grand unveiling.
When it starts, let it start with me, because I prayed for it to be. Yeah. Iba fele dumare o, Baba wa loke o, Bawa taye se o, Abe o. Wa gba wa lọ́wọ́ wàhálà.
Might please ask to join for the photos the Oba Imesi Ileoyoyo II, Oba Enoch Ademola Adeyemi, to kindly join for pictures. My apologies. Oba Enoch Ademola Akinyemi, Oba Imesi Ileoyoyo II. And also may I please ask to join for photographs Bishop Sunday Yemisi Ogunlere.
Where there's not a care of pain. Hallelujah's all there.
May I please ask that the unveilers kindly hold on whilst we have the Oba and the Bishop join them. Thank you.
For mercy drops to all on earth. May the struggles in my world.
Just to mention that there will be more opportunities for pictures at the end. So we kindly ask guests who would like to take pictures to kindly hold on. Once we are done, there'll be more than enough time for us to take pictures and celebrate the grand unveiling of this much anticipated book, written by Mama herself, detailing over 90 years of a life of impact, how she did it, and what drives or what drove her passion and motivated her to do all that she did. Certainly impactful. I would ask that as many people, indeed every single person here, pre-order this book, which will be launched very shortly. The book is available to pre-order on Amazon, and I'll be sharing with us very shortly once the pictures are done so that we can all know how we can pre-order. Very simple, straightforward, and we'd advise that you do so today so that we can, or you can, pick up a copy before we run out. And so, like I mentioned, it's on Amazon. You can pick up a copy, pre-order a copy of the book. Now, many of us, all of us have been given this card where the QR code is. If you simply take a picture of the QR code, we mentioned that earlier, if you scan the QR code on your phone, you'd see a list, an item, a sheet of order, and part of it, it should open up to something. I don't think you can see my screen, but it would open up to a few items. FBM at 100, join on Zoom. So a number of things there where you can click on to get to the option. May we please kindly ask our guests to take their seats. Thank you very much. There'll be more than enough opportunities once we're done to take pictures. Thank you so very much. Please can we give a round of applause to all our unveilers. Thank you. Thank you for doing the great work of unveiling this great book. Can we please give them a round of applause as they take their seats? Thank you very much. We enjoin all our special guests to please take their seats so we can proceed. Thank you very much. We have a few more things to get through, and then we will go into full-on celebration with celebrations and, of course, pleasantries, exchange of pleasantries. Thank you very much. Please kindly take your seats. And as we do so, permit me to again take us through how we can pre-order the book on Amazon. Thank you very much for helping us launch this excellent, brilliant book that we look forward to reading. Thank you very much. Thank you. You may please take your seats. Now, if you scan the QR code, like I mentioned, it will take you to a menu. And on that menu, you would see, read about the founder, read about our founder. If you click on that link, it will take you straight to the opening page where you'd see how you can pre-order the book. So if you click on read about our founder, it will take you straight to where you can see Florence, daughter of Akegun, and autobiography by Florence B. Makanjuola, and you'd see highlighted pre-order now. If you click on that link, it'll take you to where you can pre-order the book. We encourage you to please head on to that site, pre-order the book. We've heard a lot about Mama's life, how much more brilliant it would be to take her home with us. So please make sure you pre-order and read about this great woman and the great achievements and, of course, what drove her passion. Once again, I'd like to thank all our distinguished guests for helping us to unveil this wonderful work of literature. Beyond it being a work of literature, I would say that it's also a work that would inspire and motivate young women, young girls, older women, older girls, and boys and men as well. Anyone who would like to understand what it means to live a life of inspiration, a life that is sold out to empowering others, please pick up a copy of this book. Again, you can scan the QR code. If you're having challenges with it, you can ask any of the ushers to help you. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a few more things to get through, and I'd like to just crave your indulgence to have your attention for the next few minutes. Thank you. To speak to us for the next few minutes, speaking to us on the work that the Okwekete Foundation does. Remember, we mentioned that this foundation was established by Mama in order to further the work she does in inspiring and empowering young girls and women. We have online joining us the chairman of the foundation, Mrs. Yola Ajayi. She's a public servant, or retired public servant, served meritoriously until 2005, currently the Chief Executive Officer, Africa Youth and Women Empowerment. Please let's make very welcome Mrs. Yola Ajayi, Mrs. Omolara Yola Ajayi. A round of applause, please, for her. May I please ask that we kindly turn our attention to the
The chairman of the day, Prince Julius Adelusi Adeluye. The executive governor of Ekiti State, Dr. John Olukayode Fayemi. The governor general. The governor of Niger State, Alhaji Abubakar Sani Bello. Happy birthday to you. The Owa Oye of Imesile, Kabiesi, Makanjuola, the Olori Ebi of Makanjuola family. Our dear brother, Professor Familusi, Mama's brother. The Bishop, Right Reverend Sunday Oluyemisi Ogunlere, and other spiritual leaders here present. The Deputy Governor Central Bank, Mrs. Aisha Ahmad, the vibrant and committed granddaughter of Mama, Alhaji Ubaru Ndanusa, Mama's son-in-law, and his lovely wife, Bamidele Ndanusa, Mama's first daughter. Other distinguished guests here present, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm honored and privileged to deliver this speech at this memorable occasion of the posthumous 100th birthday of our beloved founder of the Okwekete Foundation, Mama F.B. Makanjuola. As many of you know, the education of the girl child and creating a level playing field for them has been a lifelong work for me. Over a 35-year career as an educationist, which included my role as head Women's and Girls Education Branch, Federal Ministry of Education, during which period my team and I went round the country for 4 years consecutively, training women and girls in every state of the Federation. Later, principal of Queen's College and Federal Government Girls College, Shagamu, advocating for the rights of the girl child in our great nation, Nigeria. Even in retirement, I have continued this mission through my youth empowerment initiative. My work as a public servant exposed me firsthand to the struggles that girls face to get educated and to the enormity of the task in Nigeria. These girls have the same dreams and hopes as boys, but must battle through an invisible barrier which limits their opportunities almost all through their lives. Some of the well-known challenges include cultural norms that portray girls as being inferior to boys, parental lack of funds, violence at school, and early marriages, as we still experience in our great nation, even in the highest echelon of administration. The impact of these challenges was evident throughout my career, with a proportion of girls that started and finished school being markedly lower than the boys. These challenges also continue as girls enter the workforce to build their career. Our focus today, however, is on the work of the Opekete Foundation, providing quality education, training and empowerment that will stand the girl child in good stead of the world to become strong and confident women. I'm very proud to support this mission in my role as chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Foundation. FBM, during her life, was passionate about educating the girl child and gave scholarships to many of them who were indigent, believing that this would ensure their financial independence and benefit their families and Nigeria as a country. I therefore call on every one of us to, in honor of our beloved founder, give willingly and generously to our cause. Thank you. Thank you. God bless our dear nation, Nigeria.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Mrs. Omolawa Yula Ajayi, the chairman BOT at Opekete Foundation, an initiative of Mama FBM. And as she ended her speech, we'd like to encourage everyone to further the work that was really close to Mama's heart, and that's a way to honor her legacy. Please give generously. Again, the power is in your hands. Everything we've spoken about today, if you'd like to read the brochure or more details on all our speakers, their full profile, as well as information on the Opekete Foundation to pre-order the book, you can do that by scanning the QR code. Everything is on there. Once again, if you have a challenge or perhaps difficulty in accessing information, scanning the QR code, please alert any one of the ushers and they'd be more than happy to help you out. All right, next up, we have spoken a lot about empowering young girls and women. And This is important because this was really close to Mama's heart. And so in the next few minutes, I'd like us to turn our attention to the screen again as we show you a short video on creating opportunities for girls and women.
Is a brainchild of Florence Bamidele Makanjuola. It was created as a platform to formalize her lifelong support for the education of indigent girls and her other female empowerment and philanthropic activities. The foundation is named in honor of her father, Gilbert Familusi, aka Okpekete, a strong influence in her life who was committed to her education at a time when such investment was not usually prioritized for girls. Okpekete is a palm tree popularly found in Yoruba land with a poignant proverb associated with it, Okpekete ndagba, inu omo Adamu mbaje. Throughout her life, Florence Bamidele was passionate about educating the girl child, particularly those who could not afford it, given the scholarships she herself received, which launched her to limitless opportunities. She believed that everyone could contribute meaningfully to society and that women in particular should be educated and use that training to ensure their financial independence for the benefit of their families, society, and the Nigerian economy. The Okpekete Foundation envisions a world where every girl gets the education, training, and empowerment she needs to become a strong, self-determining woman. Through scholarships, advocacy, and empowerment programs, the foundation creates opportunities for women and girls. The Florence Fund is an initiative of the Okpekete Foundation created in memory of its founder to fund the Florence Bamidele Makanjuola Scholarship for young women. The scholarship offers financial support at the senior secondary and tertiary education levels for students pursuing careers in teaching, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and nursing, Florence's primary professions. Every girl deserves to learn. The Florence Fund will afford young, brilliant women who cannot afford to go to school without assistance the life-changing opportunity of an education. It will help increase the number of nurses and teachers in Nigeria, an urgent and critical need. The FBM Roundtable on Female Education was established as the Foundation's primary advocacy platform. A biennial event, it aims to raise awareness and stimulate public discourse about the urgent need to educate girls, spotlighting the significant social and economic benefit that accrue when we invest in women. The Okpekete Foundation, in honor of its iconic founder, is proud to join the global movement to promote female education, independence, and prosperity. Your support will be critical as we empower the next generation of female leaders. Please visit our website at okpeketefoundation.org to get involved. Okpekete Foundation, creating opportunities for women and girls.
Okpekete Foundation, creating opportunities for women and girls. And to speak further on this, we have a very special woman whom I'll be introducing to the podium to launch another part of today's event, which is the Florence Fund. Her name has been mentioned a number of times in the course of today's event, and that's because she's played quite a key role in ensuring that her beloved grandma's legacy continues. She, as I mentioned earlier, wears many hats. However, today she's not going to be wearing the hat as an established and accomplished technocrat, especially in the financial sector in Nigeria. She's not going to be wearing a hat as the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. However, she's going to be standing here this afternoon as a beloved granddaughter of a beloved grandma who invested deeply in her life. And so when we talk about creating opportunities and empowering young girls and women, she stands as a testament to that statement. Not only is she a woman who has been empowered, she's a woman who also empowers other women. Beyond her professional career and background, she's also played a key role in one of Nigeria's foremost women empowering and supporting organization, WIMBIZ. Any WIMBIZ woman in the house this afternoon? And so, if there's one person who is certainly passionate about young girls and women, she is a poster child or poster woman for that. Today, she speaks lovingly about a woman she describes as the closest person to her when she was here on earth. And so this is deeply personal for her, and she would go to the lengths to ensure that everything turns out excellent. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, please can we make very welcome to the podium to introduce to us and launch the Florence Fund, the one and only elegant, charming, intelligent, future forward, excellent Mrs. Aisha Ahmed Ni Indanusa.
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains.
You've all been so kind, and I just want to first of all start out by apologizing because we are running behind schedule. And I know there are people online, and you've been sitting for a while, so I apologize. The chairman of the event today and his lovely wife, my excellencies and brothers, because it's a family event, but they're still excellencies, the governors of Ekiti State and Niger State, and of course, the governor of Ekiti State in his role as distinguished keynote speaker, our royal father, the Owaoye of Imesile, sir, you're welcome, and my distinguished brother and DG, Mr. Adeshonubi, CBN, they always support each other, and he's here to support me. The distinguished speakers that are going to be speaking to you later today, I can't wait for the round table because we'll be talking about a very important issue. My family and my friends and my supporters and everyone that has put today together. Good afternoon. I am so excited. I am so happy for two reasons. One is Grandma's birthday. And, you know, if she was alive, we'd be with her, celebrating her. And she's not here, but we are celebrating her. But I'm also so happy that you are here to share the occasion with us. I think when you have a wonderful moment, it's even more wonderful when you have people that care to share it with you and to experience it with you. Thank you very much. I'm very pleased. We are here to celebrate the life of a woman. Forget that she's my grandmother. I think it's important to know that if we want more gender parity, if we want more women to be in leadership, we need to celebrate their achievements, and not just their professional achievements and what they do for family and the community, but we should celebrate the values that allow them to achieve such things. Sacrifice, humility, tenacity, commitment, all of those things are leadership traits that actually don't have a gender associated with it. And we must start to see women as important if we need to move forward as a country. And so I just think this event is trying to do a lot of things. Of course, celebrate her as a person, but celebrate what women stand for. We want her legacy to endure. What is her legacy? All of the things that have been discussed, because there's not a lot of time. How does it endure? She decided towards the end of her life, I think she was about 95, to put all of the hard work she's been doing for people into a platform, into this Okpekete Foundation. And the reason why is because a lot of families actually struggle. It may not be our experience in this room, but a lot of families actually struggle to send their children to school. In fact, for some of them, they have to decide who goes. And given whether it's precedence, whether it's culture, whether it's just the same way it just goes, women, girls are usually at the bottom of that value chain. What the pandemic has done is to make things even worse. And so this is the time for us to do even more to make sure that people get an education. I'm not talking about, quality of education right now. There are different views about whether the education is qualitative, but everyone deserves one. And that is what my grandmother wanted to do all her life, or what she did all her life. And that is what this foundation is to do. So I want you to help us keep her legacy alive. I want you to help us send more children to school, particularly girls, because we know what happens when we send girls to school. We know how it impacts the family, impacts their children. There's research that shows that, you know, when the mother is educated and when the mother speaks to the child, when the mother has great ambitions for the child, the ambition usually happens. So I'm simply here to just, you know, gather some support for this matter. So this QR code, I hope everyone has been able to get on it. It takes some delicate work. Just put your camera on. Just put it around your camera. You will see like a yellow button showing up. Click on it. You see a list of things. There's somewhere there that says donate. That is where we need you to go. Now, I want you to understand, yes, it's about donating to the cause. But for us, it's more about being partners on this journey. And that is why we put the round table together. Even if you can't donate, or even if you can't donate a lot, you can be a spokesperson for this issue. You can talk to your family and your friends about this issue. And you can galvanize those that have the means to contribute to this issue. Now, I know that this is not time for thank yous, but I'm on the podium. And I think it's important that I use the opportunity the last few moments to just thank some people. First of all, the chairman of the event. His speech was, wow. I was a bit confused when nobody clapped, because I was like, don't you agree the speech was clapped? It was amazingly well thought through. And thank you very much, sir and madam. Thank you. And of course, I also thank our keynote speaker. And I thank, so they are my two brothers, the two governors. I don't understand how a governor will say that I am difficult. But they say that I am, and they are managing me. No problem. But thank you very much, sir, for all you do for the family. And of course, I've talked about the Oba, sir, for coming all the way, sir. Thank you very much for that. And then DG Shonobi, thank you. And my family, I can't name every single person. My dad, my mothers, I have a lot of mothers, my aunties, everyone that has supported. And of course, my friend, Mrs. Adefeko, for putting all of this together for us. Thank you very much. So please, help us keep Grandma's legacy alive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Aisha Ahmed. Again, a round of applause as she has called us all to action. Keep Grandma's legacy alive. The theme for today's celebration is enduring legacy. And so as we all sit on our table and think of ways in which we can ensure that her legacy endures, one step to doing that is scanning that QR code and clicking on donate. No amount is too small, and of course no amount is too big. We take checks in multiples of zeros, and so don't be afraid to keep writing. We are capable. Thank you very much indeed. And now to another item that we are very proud of and looking forward to today, the panel session, the FBM Roundtable. Like Mrs. Ahmed mentioned, the topic is one that should excite us all because it's right at the center of all we've been talking about today. Fixing girl-child education. Part of all of us, our advocacy could be participating in today's conversation. Now, the brilliant news as well is that we have an enviable panel of discussants. They're going to be taking apart this conversation, and that's the main thing we're doing before we wrap up today's conversation. Please do not be in a hurry to leave. We want everyone to be a part of this. They are lead discussants. However, we're going to open the floor so that as many people as possible, both online and on-site, can participate. And so, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I invite them very quickly on stage, help me to honor them and celebrate as they speak about something that we all ought to be passionate about. I won't read the full bio because if you scan again the QR code, you would see the full citation in the brochure. Again, I mentioned that the power is in your hands. That is a very powerful tool. All the information you need is right there. And so please permit me to introduce, first of all, the woman who would be moderating the panel session. I'll be ceding over hosting powers to her very shortly for the next few minutes. Please let's make very welcome Dr. Ronke Onodeko. Dr. Ronke Onodeko, please, a round of applause. Oh, I love that applause. She's a serial entrepreneur and a multi-sectoral professional with about 30 years, over 30 years of experience. And so I can understand the loud applause. Thank you for really honoring her. And then a woman that is much admired and one that many young girls look up to and celebrate. Dr. Ola Brown is our next panelist. Please let's make her very welcome. She's the founder of the Flying Doctors Healthcare Investment Company. A round of applause, please. And she is passionate about empowering young girls and women. And then we have also joining us a man who has described himself as not just a philanthropist, but also by marriage as well, because his wife drives the agenda. When it comes to women empowerment and empowering children, he and his wife do so very powerfully. Please let's make very welcome His Excellency, the Governor of Ekiti State, Dr. J.K. Fayemi. He was invited to the panel, but I think he will just sit and take questions from the audience. We really would love to hear your opinion, sir. Thank you very much. And then we have joining the panel session, Miss Nike Akerele de Souza. A round of applause, please, for her. She comes on stage. Thank you very much. She's joining virtually, all right. But please let's make the applause louder so she can hear on Zoom. Thank you. She's an accomplished executive chartered accountant, human capital specialist, and very passionate, of course, about the girl, child, and women. Also joining this fantastic panel of this panel is the only male sitting here. Please let's make the applause very, very loud, because indeed, if we're to achieve gender parity, both gender must come together to work together to achieving it. So let's make very welcome Mr. Chine Mba Uzoku. A round of applause, please. Mr. Chineye Mba Uzoku. He is an expert in education and technology, and he has used this as a tool to empowering not just girls and women, but Nigerians at large. And finally, joining this powerful panel, we have Dr. Mero Mandara, obstetrician and gynecologist, a woman with an enviable track record, speaking to us this afternoon. A round of applause, please, for Dr. Mero Mandara. Thank you. Thank you. Loving the energy. Let's sustain this. The conversation is about to get very hot. And now I'd ask that this podium be moved so we can see clearly the faces of our panelists. Can we have someone help to move the podium, please? Thank you. And I'll hand over to the moderator for this session. A round of applause, please.
Thank you, and good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to stand on existing protocol, and we're going to go straight into this very exciting discussion this afternoon. I'm not going to go over the bios of the panelists. They're very well known. You can find them on Google, LinkedIn, and definitely in the brochure for the event of this afternoon. We're going to have 50 minutes of very, very heated the discussions, and I'll just tell you how that's going to go so that everybody's flowing along with us. The first 10 minutes, we're going to spend analyzing, bringing to you data analysis on the girl child and the various aspects of the discussion. And then we'll have our ladies and one gentleman share about their thoughts on the issue, the different challenges, barriers, issues, parallel stories that they've heard of or they've been involved with on this continent, you know, things that are very relatable. And then we're going to move to preferring solutions. And I'm enjoining everybody to start thinking about how they can personally make the next move to move the girls into the next frontier. So my brief assignment, just to set a tone for what we're going to be, I don't want us to think of education as being something formal and in the classroom. It's beyond the going and enrolling a child in school. I want us to think of educating a girl child from the mind. Once the mind changes, your perspectives change, your views change, everything about your outlook towards life, your self-value, self-esteem, everything changes. So we're going beyond the classroom and formal education. We're also not going to restrict ourselves to the people we know. Or, yes, we need more tablets, we need more STEM. Some children have not even seen a smartphone in the real perspective. So we're going to the very bottom of the pyramid. We're almost thinking about the women and the people who are going to raise girls, who are going to be the digital technology generation. So we are looking for mothers who are going to understand that they're valuable assets to the society, that they are not commodities, that their value counts, and that they are part of the solution to the problems in the country, in the normal conversations we've had about girl children and setting them up and preparing them for the express to us evidences that he can through statistics, data, attrition rates, and whatnot. And so I'm going to pass the microphone on to him, and he has about 2-3 minutes to do that. And then we will call on our panelist who is joining us online. So please, Nike, be prepared. Once Chinyanya is done, we'll be passing on the floor to you to set the tone for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess it's men first this time. So this is almost a setup. As most men will be familiar, we are usually set up. But thank you very much, and thank you for having me. I was asked to come to speak, and I looked at the pictures, and I first of all, I claim my name, which is Chinaya. I'm Chinaya of Ekiti. So Chinaya is generally known to be a female name amongst the Igbos. So I have taken that side of me and brought to this conversation. For a very important reason, because I think that they put things in proper perspective. Oftentimes when we speak about education, I've been working in education for almost 3 decades now. My first company was set up in 1996 for e-learning. It took 20 years or 30 years for Nigeria to come to the point where it started to adopt that. But it taught me a lot of things, that early venture into that space in technology, which was that unless we find a way of creating access for every single person, we stand the chance of losing national opportunity. Some of the names that I mentioned this morning were single individuals who are moving entire nations, and some are moving the entire world. What makes them special? What brought that one person out? And what it means is that it could be in Niger State, it could be in Bayelsa, it could be in Sokoto, it could be in Ekiti. There could be that one person who, without access to education, deprives the entire nation and even the entire world of the opportunity that lies within that person. Life is a gift, and all of us have that gift, and we have to kind of like open it. And so when we look at the context for Nigeria, we are currently struggling, and I just put some numbers before you. It's a little bit frightening, but I think it's important that we start from that perspective to understand the current, as the figures from 2016 are showing that we have about 25 million children in primary education. From 25 million in primary education, we go to 5 million in junior secondary. So the question then is, what happens to the other 20 million? And then from the 5 million that you have in junior secondary, we admit about 1 million into senior secondary. So that's about 21% or so of the children in junior secondary are going into senior secondary en route to university. In terms of university, we admit about 500,000 students, between 500,000 and 700,000 a year. The total population of our tertiary 167 schools, universities, is about 1.89 million. So approximately 1% of Nigeria's population is being prepared at tertiary level to feed the human capital requirements of the country. 1%. The global data and research shows that you have to get to at least 8% before that begins to impact your GDP. And we're a long way from that. But even more challenging is that gender parity in Nigeria is sitting at maybe about between 8 and 9%, 0.8 or 0.9, which means that approximately, and again, if you look at the numbers, at primary school level, it's about maybe about 45% in terms of male-female population. When you get to the junior secondary, it kind of like equalizes. When you get to university, it goes again to about 60-40. But what is happening is that the fall-offs at every stage of the education transition disproportionately impacts the girl child. And so if you look at the first number, 25 million in primary to 5 million in junior secondary, then you don't have to ask yourself a question as to why our society is the way it is, and why we have the level of insecurity, and why we have the level of low productivity. We're simply not educating our children. We're abdicating the responsibility for educating our children, and even worse, we're under-educating the female child. There's data that shows clearly that a child will rise to the level of education. I'm sorry, gentlemen, but I have to tell you this. I'm sorry, I'm apologizing. You see, the data shows globally that a child will rise to the level of education of the mother or higher, not the father. Again, a child will rise to the level of education of the mother or higher, not the father. The reason is clear, and Mrs. Ahmad mentioned that. You see, the mother sets the aspiration for the child. The father enforces it usually with a cane and with harsh words. The mother realizes the aspiration through constant interaction with the child. The father grunts when the child comes back with a poor result. Very few parents actually sit with their children in the way that the person who we're celebrating today, we are told that the father had this aspiration for her. And because the father had that aspiration, this is a rarity. Because in Nigeria, 44% of Nigeria's women will get married before the age of 18. 18% of them will get married before the age of 15. Fundamentally, what we're doing is that we're taking away the most critical resource that we have, not just in terms of their contribution to the workforce, but in terms of the quality that they can bring to bear on the livelihood of every single one of us. So when they say the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world, it's not just a saying. The data is crystal clear. Until we find a way, and I think this is really the message for this foundation, what this foundation is about, and what we need to go away from this room with is, what are we going to do that is bold, radical enough to recover the situation and to educate the girl child so that the generations to come can aspire to be all that they can be? Until we do that, we are going to find ourselves on a continuous and precipitous decline.
Thank you very much, Chinenye. Oh, I just wanted to mention, just to show that we're very compliant, our guest to my far right, Dr. Ola Brown, who is an Orekore, is an Ekiti State indigenous. So we've ticked the box also. Thank you very much. So I don't know if Nika... So I don't know if, okay, Nika is on. So we'll just concede the floor to you to continue setting the context before we go into the actual discussion of, our thoughts, the issues, and how we're going to go about mitigating the challenges that we see.
Good afternoon, Ronke. Can you hear me okay?
Clearly, thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Good afternoon, everyone, my fellow discussants, to the family, and everyone participating in the event. Please permit me to stand on all existing protocols. It's an honor to be here today, and thank you to the Okwekete Foundation for this opportunity. I have been in human capital development for most of my career, either as an HR specialist or a social entrepreneur working actively in education and the youth development space. A few years ago, a few of us co-founded Teach for Nigeria, an organization working in disadvantaged communities in government schools to turn around the learning outcomes of students. I am glad to hear that our chairman, Mr. Oyebode, and our CEO, Folawe, are both here with you today. The conversation we're having, and thank you, Chinenye, for setting the context with data, because data is very, very important. So the conversation we're having today is very important. Gender parity in education is absolutely critical, not just in Nigeria, but globally. It's an issue that is really facing with a lot of investment at the moment. It's important for us to highlight, as has been said also by Aisha, by the board chairman as well, that education is critical. It's an instrument for liberation. It gives people hope. It's transformative, especially for girls. And if in Nigeria we're to meet the UN Sustainable Development Goal 4, there are 17 SDGs, but Goal 4 focuses on education. If we're to ensure that Nigeria's education system is inclusive and equitable, it means that inclusive must include our girls. It must include those that are disadvantaged, those that are disabled, and those in rural communities that are most often forgotten. Education is a right, it's not a privilege. It's not something that's a luxury, it's a right for all children. So when we say equitable, what we're trying to say is it fair? Is it just for all children, regardless of their background? The fact that we have free basic education of 12 years in Nigeria does not make it equitable. It may have opened up equal opportunities to access education, but the system is not equitable for all. Girls, most often, as has been said, face many more barriers, and that does limit their access to education and learning. Permit me to just give you a high level of what the evidence is telling us in terms of studies and data. There is evidence that has shown that education results in drastic declines in child marriages and mortality rates. It is a key contributor in lifting women and households out of poverty. Education improves women's lifetime earnings drastically. Educating girls, promoting women's leadership has shown to transform communities, countries, and economies. Investing in girls' education can also increase communities in terms of their resilience to climate change. I mean, we're all hearing so much about what's happening across the world, and particularly in Africa, on the impact of climate change. So climate education for our girls are also absolutely critical. Finally, education promotes peace and cohesion. Chinere mentioned earlier on about the social unrest, the insurgencies, and not having children in school. So if we can have children in school being educated, then we have those outcomes. But before I hand over to my other discussants, I wanted to also touch base on, talk about access issues, the funnel of how our students are moving from primary to junior secondary to so we're losing girls, we're losing students who are not in school, who are not learning. I mean, the statistics of the out-of-school children in Nigeria is humongous. And we know that data has shown us that a lot of those children are in the poor percentile, and they are mostly in the rural areas. There's data too, so they are forgotten, they're not being catered for. Even with migration, girls and children moving to peri-urban areas of city that are not being catered for. There are no schools there for them. But I wanted to focus, before I hand over to my other panelists, on areas of the quality of our education. Why should children go to school? Because parents have a choice. They have limited money, most often, facing other issues, so they have to make a parental choice. The power of who goes to school. And one of the determinants of who goes to school is that what is the return on that investment? So what do I mean by that? Why do I need to send a child to school? What am I going to get out of it? After all, if they go to school, will my girl child get a job? Will she succeed in life? So the issue, part of that equation, is the quality of the education we're offering our children. Why should I out to school for 12 years if the child cannot read and write when they come out at the other end? And this is absolutely critical. So I just want to close with some data that affects all children and affects our girls. So for example, we have seen this in Teach for Nigeria. When we first started, we decided to intervene in primary school, to primary 6, and to begin to address some issues and prepare them for secondary school. Only for us to find out from data after years of work that the children in the classroom cannot read and write. So we had to go back and intercede from a young age. Work that has been done by Learn Nigeria in 2018 of 49,000 students in Nigeria. The research shows that when they tested JSS 3 students in their reading capacity, only 55 of them were able to read primary 2 text. So we have children moving from one level to the other, not able to read and write. So we're grooming an illiterate population of children. So why will I send my girl to school if she comes out after 6 years to 12 years not able to read and write? So these are some of the challenges I'm hoping that we can discuss today. So over to you, Ronke. I hope I haven't taken too much time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nike. I'll just quickly highlight what Nike has just said about the mindset of the person who determines if a girl goes to school and how long she stays in school. That's on the part mostly of a father, if there's a father in the home, or a mother who is probably not literate and not exposed either. On Chineye's side, he had explained to us about the data and how we're losing the girls as we move up and along. And I'm just wondering, who exactly is the one who can keep the girls in school much longer within a policy context, within a community context, finding places where girl children can get educated without, a mother saying, my daughter cannot walk 2, 3, 4 miles to school. What are we doing with the churches? What are we doing with the mosques that are closed from Monday through Saturday or Monday through Friday? Empty buildings when some children do not have places to learn. I'm going to pass the microphone on to Ola now, and she's going to give us her thoughts as to what she sees as some of the challenges, the impediments, and other thoughts that she will have on this discussion. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to also stand on all existing protocols. My name is Dr. Ola Brown, and I spent most of my career working in the fields of healthcare, which I studied first, and economics and finance. And I work at the intersection of both, financing healthcare projects across West Africa. So my talk will be mainly focused on the economic aspects and benefits of women's education. But I do a little bit of work in education. And when Mrs. Aisha called me, it was surprising that we were celebrating her grandmother, who is a nurse, because our small foundation at Flying Doctors actually supports girls from my hometown, Ilawe Ekiti, who want to go into nursing or medicine. So it's a coincidence for me to be speaking at this event, and I thought a very nice coincidence. But what I'll be concentrating on is why I believe that women's education and women's empowerment is not just something that benefits women, but I actually believe that it's something that is essential to the fate of our nation, the fate of Nigeria. And I'll explain why. When we sit around at lunches, at dinners, even when we meet people in the diaspora, we have long conversations about Nigeria's problems, in quotes. And what are Nigeria's problems? What are we really talking about when we talk about this Nigeria issue? We're talking about really 4 or 5 main things. We're talking about economic growth, right? We're talking about the fact that people are living in poverty. We're talking about our productivity. The fact that why people are not traveling this Christmas, or why a lot of people are not traveling this Christmas, is because we're thinking about our forex rates. A lot of people think, if I go to America now, even the taxi from the airport that was 15,000 naira, $100, 15,000 naira a few years ago is now 60,000 naira. So we're thinking about our revenue problems, we're thinking about security. When we talk about Nigeria's problems, we also talk about security. And we talk about unemployment and healthcare. And it's interesting how this relates to women's education. Because there's a study by The Economist, I think it was either in September or November, that shows that countries that don't empower women are less stable and more violent. So there's a direct correlation. This was a study of 60 countries that shows that the level of violence, the kidnapping, the terrorism, the militancy, has a direct correlation with women's education and women's empowerment. And it was a very, very interesting study for me, because one of the problems that we're struggling with as a nation is security. Another problem that we're struggling with is economic growth and revenue. And we're struggling with the fact that we're not making enough, we're not productive enough as a nation to justify the population that we have. And I think that part of the reason why is because we're actually leaving 50% of our population behind. And if we can educate women, and if we can empower women, then we can create more businesses, we can create more executives, we can create more technology innovators. And these are the things that grow economies. So I don't think women's education is a women's issue. I actually think it's a national issue that can solve our security problems, that can solve our economic problems, that can solve our unemployment issues. And that's why I think that it's so important that we have this conversation, because the fate of Nigeria depends on it. And it's also very interesting that both of the major religions in our country, Christianity and Islam, actually have support for women's education. In Islam, recently I visited Usman Dan Fodio's grave in Sokoto, and they took me to another side where his daughter was. And they said one of the most interesting figures in Nigeria's history, because the Sokoto Caliphate was probably our largest bureaucracy before colonization. His daughter wrote over 100 books. She was a warrior. She was a teacher. So this was the daughter of one of the greatest, most prominent Nigerians in Islam. And she was a poet. So this was how our culture was before colonization, actually. And when we look at the Bible, for instance, the daughters of Zehophilad in the Bible in Christianity, when they were approaching Moses for their land inheritance, for the inheritance of their father's businesses, some of the senior priests said that they can't inherit property because they're women. But when Moses asked God that, what should I do about these women? He said, let them inherit their property. So there's an economic reason behind what we are doing here today. Like I said, the fate of our nation depends on the conversation we're having today. All of the problems that we talk about, from security to healthcare to economic growth to productivity, have their roots in the problem that we're talking about today. And it's also rooted in some of our most personal stories, both from Islam in Nigeria, the history of Islam in Nigeria, and from the history of Christianity, where we can see the most prominent leaders supporting women's education and women's empowerment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ola. So Ola thinks national issues and challenges can be resolved, can be solved, can be mitigated if we're able to carry our women along and educate them. So I'm going to go to Dr. Mandara, and I'm actually going to go to a particular discussion we had on some work that she's doing, and with the young girls from displaced communities, just to highlight and explain how change can come about it's not as difficult as we say, it's not as far away from each and every one of us as we might imagine. And it's not just a thing that we should look to government to put policies in place to manage. There are other things outside of the government that we can do, and each and every person in this room has a role to play. So I'll just give the floor to her.
Thank you very much, Ronke. I think a lot of, I'll start by my own personal story. A lot of people ask me as an obstetrician gynecologist, what business do you have doing education? My journey in understanding the importance and the significance of education actually started in med school, and it went through my postgraduate training as an obstetrician gynecologist. Working in ABU Zaria and seeing patients in ABU Zaria, it was very clear. We had the psychovaginal fistula. We had young people dying of contracted pelvis, of cephalopelvic disproportion. We had a lot of women dying because of bleeding, because they've had too many children. The most important denominator between whether you have cephalopelvic disproportion, whether you die as early pregnancy or late pregnancy, actually, or gram multiparous woman, is your level of education. And the data in Nigeria shows that the most important confounder in maternal health and child health is not wealth, actually. It's completion of secondary school. That's when you find the first jump of change. So that, now I will want to take you from the policy to actually the story of the girl. These girls that we're talking about, who are they? What decides whether they go to school or not? I could go to my brother here and say, please go and lobby all the governors in Nigeria, let everybody create a school everywhere. Will the children go? For the girl, the issue of a girl in Nigeria and in most of Africa is a political issue, is a religious issue, is a cultural issue. The decision whether a girl goes to school or does not go to school is not her choice. Is the choice of her parents or her caregivers. Now, let's take a step back. These parents themselves are not educated in most cases. So when we sit as a government in a comfortable room and write policies, they don't care what policies they are. They have no idea what our policies are. When government stands up in front of the TV or everywhere and says, take your children to school, do they actually trust the government? Do they actually trust politicians? Particularly the politicians that they see once in 4 years. Are they credible enough to ask them to take their most treasured cultural value, the girl, most treasured religious value, the girl, and put her in a school because somebody else says she should do it? So for me, I'm bringing us back to the centrality of context. We need to look at our context and ask tough questions around who are the really people who make the decision. You'll be shocked, and I'm here, I have our traditional religious leaders and our religious leaders. This group of people, and this comes from my experience working as the head of Gates Foundation in polio. You will remember the crisis in polio. One religious leader in Kano woke up one day and said polio vaccine is causing infertility. Our vaccination rate within months dropped from 85% to about 40%. One religious leader. Can you imagine if that religious leader says the key to going to heaven is girls' education? So our traditional and religious leaders take significant role. The second is, so what we did is, in an organization we set up with Hajj Abel Kisu of late memory, where we looked at girls from very, very underserved communities. And in the last 10 years, we focused in the Northeast. Actually, tomorrow, that's why I'm rushing back to Maiduguri today. Tomorrow, we're having girls that we picked from IDP camps. At that time, schools were closed. We took them to Kaduna. Nasuri gave us a number of seats in public schools. And these girls have graduated this year. And 4 of them are the best graduating students in schools in Kaduna. They are IDP girls. Two issues that we must take to bear when we discuss girls' education. Why should a parent send a child to a school? They're not going to have a job anyway. Those that they have managed to send, they haven't gone to a job. They're not going to be able to read or write because the quality of the schools are bad. And then when they come back, they're not also going to help in the farm because they become arrogant. And we all, I'm sorry, we all are. By Western education, we become a bit arrogant because we think we know. They've become arrogant, now they're not going to help in the farm. So why would they send the girl? Two issues. We had a conference of African traditional and religious leaders here in Abuja in 2019, led by the Sultan of Sokoto, the Kabaka of Buganda, and the Ashanti Hene of Ghana, to look at how can traditional and religious leaders support girls' education in Africa. In that, and Emir of Sanusi was then the Emir of Kano. In that, they came up with two issues that if we are serious about girls' education, we must address. One, the issue of poverty. We cannot make everybody rich. The second is morale. As a Muslim, I know in my constituency, people would rather have their daughters not go to school than she becomes what is called iska. That she becomes a useless girl, that she loses her morality. So we must address these two issues. And how we've been able to do that in addressing the education of girls that have been affected by Boko Haram are these. Learning this from the traditional leaders, learning that what we've been spending billions of dollars across the world, and it hasn't moved anything. So we went now, we piloted working with traditional leaders in Nigeria and Ethiopia. And in this, public schools, these schools with no education, we went in and started teaching young girls what we call life skills. And then we also are teaching them livelihood skills, market-relevant livelihood skills. If you talk to our educationists, they'll tell you, oh, we're teaching them home economics, or we're teaching them knitting. For example, where I come from, Maiduguri, we wear cardigan maybe 2 days in a year. So you teach a girl knitting, that's the most useless thing you can use your life on. So these girls, we spoke with them. We said, when you grow up, what do you want to be? One of them want to be henna makers. A lot of them want to be beauticians. They want to be seamstresses. They want to be... So in those schools, with a capital of 500,000, we set up those things. As I speak with you today, we're having a workshop in Maiduguri, and the caterers are girls from a girls' academy. When they cook food, they compete with any caterer in Borno. And that money we share with them, and their parents are so happy to send their children to school because there's something in for them. We are parents. These parents are also human. Until there's something in for them, they will not do it. Now they're seeing their girls are learning money, are getting money. The final thing is we're teaching them life skills. Life skills is about self-agency. For my sisters that are African feminists, we understand what we mean. The agency, they know that God created them primarily as a human being before they are women. First, they have brain before they have breast. Sorry, I'm an obstetrician, so I'm shameless. And so therefore, these girls are so clear in their mind why they are on earth. So the teachers were telling me now they don't need to take koboko to make sure girls go to school. They say, why are you carrying cane? I'm going to school for me, and I know why I'm going to school. Finally, I don't know if I'll have another opportunity. It's not difficult. As of now, we've trained over 1,000 girls. And among the first escaped Chibok girls, we have 4 now in Notre Dame University. 2 are on the dean's list. We have a girl in medical school in University of Maiduguri. We have girls all over. And in the girls that we took from IDP who did not know how to read or write, and we sent them to Kaduna, because every summer we have boot camp where we increase their knowledge, reading, writing skills. All of them have come out now, and tomorrow we're doing celebrations of excellence. The minimum any of those girls got was 6 credits. We have a girl that has 9 credits, all A's and B's. We took her from an IDP camp. She's an orphan. Her father was killed. Her mother was raped. And her brother was beheaded by Boko Haram. And for me, this is it. Can we do it? Yes, we can. And I can challenge you here. It doesn't matter anything. our situation, we don't have to be rich. We absolutely don't have to be rich. We just want to do it. And for the women, all you need to do is sacrifice one dress. One of these are dresses per year. That's okay. And for the men, just one buba, one babariga and the cap and everything. That's okay. But above all, even if you have nothing, just look around your community. Any girl, any boy you see, have you gone to school? Why haven't you gone to school? Stop by and talk to the lady selling akara. Stop by and talk to the mama put. Ultimately, when you do this, we will change the tide. But if we don't do it, there's also a price. If we don't do it, at the time when we're old, at the time when we are like mama, because she has done it, she's lying in peace. But in our own age, if we don't do it, by the time we reach our age of rest, we are going to have a community of young boys and girls brought up by illiterate mother who are going to be our drivers, our cleaners, and everything. And because of the social inequity, we are not going to sleep because they will be very angry with us. And it has happened. It's happening. And we will not have rest. So for very selfish reasons, we need to ensure social equity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mandara. Our time is fast spent. I'm just going to give a charge to each and every one of us here to start thinking of solutions. Personal solutions, religious solutions, solutions within our communities, individual ones, national ones, the international ones where we can have collaborations and alliances. There are non-governmental organizations that we can work with, private sector, public sector. There's lots to do, but we need to start changing the mind of those who determine if children, especially girls, go to school and how long they stay in school, and give girls an opportunity for empowerment, for a better life, and to raise a generation that would be better than them. And if you're still wondering where you can start, please donate to this foundation. They've sent the little cards on the different tables. Put your little widow's mite into this foundation and see how God is going to bless you and bless the recipients of this good gesture. And on this note, I have to thank my panelists. Thank you very much. Pardon? Somebody has one last word. A second. You have a second to do your last word.
I just wanted to call out something that I mean, thank you. I could listen to you for 2 days and not get tired. I mean, that's amazing work that you're doing. I did want to say very quickly that, you know, you can't solve the girl-child problem without solving the boy-child problem. And we have to accept, you know, within our society that we do have a boy-child problem. And what makes it worse is that these boy children will become men. And they will be the ones who are supervising the system that we're putting forward. So as we're trying to fix that, we're actually dealing with 40 years of a boy-child problem. At the point where we have to make decisions, people are being patronizing about girl-child education. It's not a choice. It's not a choice. It's not a choice that you have to make. It's something that is a right of the child. And I just wanted to say that, to your point, we think about education, we think about schools. The solution, when you're talking about the solution, or one of the most important solutions, is to separate the two. We have to stop thinking about schools as a location that children have to go to and focus on education with the child. And that means, and the mother. What that means is that every single space, we have to disaggregate those schools where you gather 1,000 people and make a school the next door that has, where there's a grandmother, there's a grandfather, there's a little room where you can take 10 children and you can teach them and they can walk to school. Teaching them then means you're going to give them a tablet. I don't know, there's no other way in which we can scale education without using technology. There's absolutely no way. We will never build, if 40 million children have to go to school and we have 40 in a classroom, we have to build 1 million classrooms. We will never build 1 million classrooms, and there's no need to. But every tablet that you give to a child or to a mother is an entire education sitting on it. And we're losing time every single day. So I'll stop there.
Thank you very much. So when we're talking tablets, we don't necessarily mean iPads, all the smartphones we use to send WhatsApp messages, Instagram. We can use them for more valuable things. So your old phones, give them to your drivers to take home for their children. There's so much everybody can do. I want to thank everybody for their time. I want to thank my panelists especially for their input. And I want to thank the organizers of this event for actually bringing this issue of girls moving into the next frontier to the forefront. And I'm very glad that I see happy people. I see people with deep understanding in here. And I know you're going to give your time, your resources, and your intellect to the girl child. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A brilliant session. Can we please, as they take their seats, a round of applause. They'll take a picture. A round of applause to the phenomenal moderator, Ms. Ronke Onodeko. Thank you very much for steering that conversation. And then, of course, the brilliant panelists on site and virtual, Dr. Ola Brown, Ms. Nike Akerele de Souza, Mr. Chinenye Mbauzoku, and Dr. Mero Mandara. Thank you for doing justice to this topic, fixing girl-child education in such a limited amount of time, yet brilliant. Thank you very much. As we invite the chairman of the day as well as His Excellency, the Governor of Ekiti State, Dr. J.K. Fayemi, to join on stage for pictures. And whilst the pictures are being taken, it's a good time for us to reflect on some of the highlights of the conversation. And again, just to reiterate the importance of understanding what role we play or we get to play in fixing the girl-child problem or the girl-child education problem and challenge, as it were. Thank you so very much for doing such a great job of tackling the conversation. Startling revelations in terms of the statistics, deeply worrying, and a call to action like never before. It means that the best time to have started work in fixing this issue was yesterday. The next best time is right now. So, as was mentioned by the moderator, just to remind us that it's a good time to pledge to the Florence Fund. We've given a pledge card to every single person here. As Dr. Mero mentioned, it might just be you not having that Sunday lunch tomorrow and sacrificing that amount of money so that a girl child can be educated. It might just be you suspending that treat you're about to give yourself tonight, or that nice handbag or pair of shoes you are going to buy for yourself, and pledge. Again, no amount is too small, no amount too big. We really would appreciate. Let's pledge and redeem the Florence Fund pledge. And then, of course, don't forget to pre-order your book using the cue card, scanning the QR code here, and just pre-ordering. Again, you get more inspiration from there as to how you can impact your immediate and extended environment. On this note, I'd like to invite back again to the podium as we begin to round off today's event. But I must mention at this point that we have lunch prepared for you, so please do not be in a hurry to leave. We have great music and great food for you, so please do stay back immediately after the formal proceedings. I'd like to invite back to the podium to give her remarks Mrs. Aisha Ahmed. A round of applause please as Mrs. Ahmed comes on stage.
Can I just crave everyone's indulgence? We haven't finished. We will soon finish. You've been so patient. You've been an amazing audience, both those that are here and those that are online. I'm waiting for everyone to settle a bit. Okay. When it is well done, when we've had fun, it's always good to acknowledge the people that supported us. And that is what we have next. I don't want to stand in the way of that. However, it's important that I do this. I think one of the key elements that we learned from Florence Bamidele Makanjuola's life was her father's commitment to his children's education. And we also heard from the panel the important role that men play in giving women opportunities, giving girls opportunities. And there's no successful woman, either one that has gotten education or one that is recognized for her contribution, that does not have. Usually, she has a man that has supported her. And I just wanted to celebrate the General, Abdul Ahmad. You thought I forgot you. I left the best for the last. Thank you. He's been very supportive. Thank you, sir. So, I'd now like to call on Florence Banjo, who's going to do the proper vote of thanks. But I thank you all, my friends, family, and everybody that has been here to join us to celebrate our amazing grandmother. Florence.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank the chairman of this auspicious event, Prince Julius Adelusi Adelui, OFR MNI, for honoring us with his presence and sharing his wealth of experience. I want to thank the keynote speaker, the Executive Governor of Ekiti State, His Excellency, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, who honored us and shared passionately on creating a legacy of impact through philanthropy. I also want to thank the special guest of honor, the Governor of Niger State, His Excellency, Alhaji Sani Bello, for honoring us with his presence. To the Royal Father of the Day, Oba Imesile Oyoyo II, Enoch, Oba Enoch Ademola Akinyemi. I want to say thank you, sir. May your days be long, sir. I also want to appreciate the Deputy Governor, Operations, CBN, and his wife, Mr. and Mrs. Shonubi, for gracing this occasion with their presence. I want to thank our distinguished roundtable speakers, Dr. Mario Mandara, Dr. Ola Brown, Mrs. Nike Akerele de Souza, and Mr. Chinyeye Umba Uzoku, and the moderator, Mr. Ronke Onodeko, for such a timely and stimulating discourse on promoting girl-child education. Thank you for sharing your wealth of experience and wisdom with us. I want to thank everyone who participated in this event, physically and virtually. Thank you for honoring us with your esteemed presence. I urge you all to follow the work we're doing in honor of our beloved matriarch via the website opeketefoundation.org. Last but most importantly, I want to thank the organizing committee, whom I would like to join on stage. Oyinda Adesuyi, Buki Banjo, Ezinwa Obioha, Funsho Abayomi Ojo, Hope Oswige, Mayowa Agoro, Olayemi, Anu Timilein, Favor, Fatima Undanusa, Aliyu, Wumi Adelusi, Ope Oduwole, 83 Resources, ably led by Mrs. Tosin Adefeko. I will now invite Mrs. Ahmad to the stage for a photograph with the incredible members of the planning committee.
May we please invite Mrs. Adefeko on stage to take a picture with the planning committee. A round of applause. She's worked really hard to execute the vision of the family. So this picture wouldn't be complete without her on stage. 83 resources at work. Thank you. Please, can we really cheer this fantastic, phenomenal work group? Worked tirelessly day and night to ensure the success of today's event and to really honor the life of our dearly beloved grandma. Thank you so very much. We have come to the end of today's event, but please permit me to just honor some people online. Even though they were not able to be here physically, they ensured that they tuned in online to be a part of the event. I'd like to thank very much the Deputy Governor in charge of Corporate Services at the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Edward Adamu. He's joined online. Can we please really cheer loudly so they can hear the applause? Thank you. We also had online the presence of the MD Sterling Bank, Mr. Abubakar Suleiman. Round of applause, please. And we had the MD Fidelity Bank, Mrs. Neka Onyali Ikbe. A round of applause, please. Thank you all very much for joining, even though you weren't here physically. Oh yeah, we have, a snapshot of the people online. We still have quite a good number of people, and we're thankful for their patience and just joining and being a part of today's celebrations, despite not being able to be here physically. I must say that it's interesting to see that they've engaged throughout the event, and they've been a phenomenal audience despite not being here physically. Also, I'd like to thank everyone here. Thank you for being, as Mrs. Ahmed mentioned, a super audience. Thank you for being patient with us, for participating, for engaging, for cheering, for clapping when it was time, and just being totally and wonderfully amazing. A round of applause, please, for yourselves. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll end with this quote or this message from YouTube from Ezinwa M. Obioha, saying that Mama FBM is a typical example of the importance of educating a woman. When women are educated, the ripple effect is far-reaching. On that note, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Please enjoy lunch. Do not be in a hurry to leave, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Don't forget to send in your pledge form, and would love to get your pledge as well as pre-order the book by Florence, daughter of Akegun, an autobiography. Good afternoon.
So I keep my light in my window. For not God's mercy, I'd be in their place. So I keep my light in my window. I wanna ease the pain that light can bring. Help them find the peace their spirit needs. I have been chosen for work to do to make this world a much better place for me and you. Some call me foolish, to lend a helping hand, so I keep my light in my window. I feel so good when I help my fellow man, so I keep my light in my window. Till love and mercy spread throughout the land.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, lunch is buffet style, and the ushers will come to each table to lead you to your lunch. Thank you very much.
Help them find the peace desperately. I have no choice of a little work to do to make this world a better place for me and you. Don't stop, clap your hands up time. Click, clap, find your own way to stay. The time will come one day. Why do people choose to live their lives this way? Keep on moving, don't stop, no. Keep on moving, keep on moving, keep on moving, keep on moving, don't stop, no. Yeah, keep on moving. It's our time today. The right time is here to stay. Stay in my life always. Yellow is the color of sun rays. I hide myself from no one. I know that time will surely come when you be in my life always. Yellow is the color of sun rays. Keep on moving, don't stop. Keep on moving, don't stop, no. Keep on moving,
Distinguished guests, lunch is to the left-hand side of the room. Would like to encourage everyone to please. Table has been spread. It's a celebration, and we'd love for you to have something to eat before you leave. So to the left-hand side of the hall, kindly have lunch there. Thank you very much. The ushers should kindly help to lead our guests to the table that has been set before us. Thank you very much. Lunch is to the left-hand side of the room. We'd ask that you kindly have something to eat before you leave. Thank you.
Walking alone in my own way. Extremely cold, rainy day, and I have all along the way. Yes, we do. I hide myself from no one. I know that time will really come when.
Distinguished guests, may we please kindly ask that you pay attention to your valuables. If you have your purse, your bags, your phones, kindly pay attention so that they don't go missing. Would like to encourage everyone, whilst you exchange pleasantries, to remember to keep an eye on your valuable items. Thank you very much. As you proceed to lunch, you can take your bag with you, or you can take your purses with you, or your phones. Please do not leave any valuable item on your table unattended. Thank you very much.
On moving, don't stop, clap your hands up time. Click, clap, find your own way to stay. The time will come one day. Why do people choose to live their lives this way? Keep on moving, don't stop, no. where you stand. What you need is a lover, a man to take over. Oh girl, don't look any further. Strange when you think of the chances that we both be in a state of mind, too cool to be careless, looking for the right thing. Oh baby, don't look any further. Tonight we're gonna taste a little paradise. Rockin' all night long, baby, all night long. Daylight, I'll still be looking in your ebony eyes, and we'll go on and on and on. Hey, mambo chicayo, don't look any further.
Jezebel, this Brixton queen, living her life like a backstreet dream, telling the lies when the truth is clear. I think she knew what I wanted to hear, spinning around like a wheel on fire, walking on tightrope and love's highway. Fatal attraction is where I'm at, there's no escaping me. I just wanna be close to you, and do all the things you want me to. I just wanna be close to you and show you the way I feel. I feel love when I'm lying in the midnight hour, holding you just like a dream. Love is never what it seems when you touch and you're holding me the way you do. Girl, you make my dreams come true. You make my dreams come true. I just wanna be close to you and do all the things you want me to. I just wanna be close to you and show you the way I feel. She was a Gemini on the cusp of Mars. She holds me back or she goes too far, binding me up just to let me down. So emotional, gagging down. There's more to this than meets the eye. The devil woman locked inside. With the woman right, I was scared. I think I was possessed. I just wanna be close to you and do all the things you want me to. I just wanna be close to you and show you the way I feel. I feel love every time your body's next to mine. Something deep inside of me wants to love you endlessly. I won't beg you to stay, and if you wanna go, darling, maybe it's better that way. I'm gonna be strong, I'm gonna be fine. Summer heat, summer rain, summer love, it's here again. I call my girl, we take a ride, cruise the strip, sunset and fine. The